guys, what is up?
Hey guys, dancing is great for exercise, right Gab?
Yeah, so join us for the next 20 minutes. We're gonna move our feet and we're gonna have a lot of fun.
We hope you had your power pandesal with egg combo.
Yeah, that kind of made me hungry too.
Yeah, we'll have one later. And be sure not to move your remote control because it's time for
Gab to Go. Mitchie, in the count of 3.
Let's go.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
That was so fun. Wow.
What, you call that dancing?
Why? What's wrong with my dancing?
You see, you're lucky that I'm your friend because as a friend, I'd advise you to never, ever dance like that in your entire life ever again.
Are you serious?
Well, okay. Now it's time for our
Uploaders Alert!
Yes, all right. Yes.
Thank you. Well, let's see what we've got.
Aloha, Gab and Mitch. I am Samantha from Quezon City, and I have this really groovy Lola. My Lola Oring, which is 76 years old, has her funny ways of lecturing us, her grandkids, when it comes to our daily routines. She always starts her sermon with, "Ikaw ka babae mong tao," or "Nung kapanahonan namin." Well, here's an example.
Dito, kamusta na po? Tignan niyo si Lolo. Ganda ni Lola.
Teka muna, Luis, hindi pa ako nakaayos, oh. Makikita ako ng tito mo, hindi maganda ang ano ko. Ay, Samantha, pahiram nga ng ng suklay. Ay, ano ba yan, Samantha? Kababae mong tao, kung makaupo ka, pataig mo pa ang kuya mo.
Oo nga.
Naku, nung kapanahunan namin. Bawal lang nakabuka ka pag nakaupo. Hello, I love you, I miss you.
Pasalubong sa video.
Pasalubong.
Mahal na mahal kita. Kaya nga ginagawa ko tong video na to. Please, sagutin mo na ako.
Ay,
Nagmamakaw.
naku, Luis, kabata-bata mo pa, puro panliligaw na lang inaasikaso mo. Alam mo ba, 30 years old na nung ako'y magkaroon ng boyfriend? Pag-aaral na lang asikasuhin mo kaysa panliligaw.
Remember that last line she told Kuya Luis, telling him that he is too young to court a girl? Well, that same day, she also said this to my brother.
Ayun na si Lola. Lola!
Ay, naku naman, Luis. Katanda-tanda mo na, edad 20 anyos ka na. Di ka pa marunong magligpit ng sapatos mo? Ano ba yan? Natuto ka naman magligpit dito sa bahay.
Isn't she the funniest? One minute she tells you that you're too young for these things, and then another time she will tell you that you're old enough. Well, I think that's the reason why we really love and respect our grandparents very much. So, thank you so much for choosing my video, Gab and Mitch, and more power to you guys. Adios.
That is really cute, Samantha. Lola Oring surely does remind me of my own grandma. Hi, Inay Belen!
Yeah, I think that is why we do love our grandparents, right? They have their own way of showing us their ways of discipline. They'd rather tell stories instead of the usual ways that our moms and dads show us. Speaking of which, I give my shout out to my Lola Ophelia. I will see you for a weekend dinner.
All right, well, bye TV. We
Now
don't
take
need
this out,
you
take this
anymore. Out? Oh yeah, I remember when I was little, my Lola told me the story about this lazy and stubborn girl named Pina whenever we forgot to fix our beds in the morning.
Okay, I think I'm familiar with that story. Isn't that the pineapple fruit that you're talking about?
Yup. Well, that's just one. And there's a whole lot more.
Probably. Probably comes with age, yeah. Our grandparents
Yeah.
have a lot of wisdom. That's why they most likely enlighten us with their teachings of folklore and based on their life experiences.
According to my teacher, usually our grandparents grasp those moral lessons and values from the folklores they've heard before. Like, you know, the olden times when they didn't have like cell phones, MP3s, or iPods. They used to entertain themselves by doing simple activities such as writing narratives, documenting the history, observing nature, and by storytelling.
Stories or narratives started to change as different colonial countries started to invade ours. I learned in school that whatever happened to your past and your literature changes. Each one of them has their own way of expressing their influence to us for the moral lesson that may be acquired. Oh good, you're there already. Okay, during the pre-colonial times, the inhabitants of our country enlightened us with their rich past, with their folk culture, speeches, songs, stories, and inhabitants, and indigenous cultures that they gave us in the past. They made us closer, bonded with our co-Southeast Asian countries. An example for folk speeches are riddles, which the Cebuanos call tigmo. For the Tagalogs, they call it bugtong. For the Ilonggos, it's paktadon. While in the Bicol region, they call it patotdon. Another example of folk speeches are proverbs. In Bukidnon, it's called basabahon. And in Panay, they call it either darayda or dargilon. Categorized under folk songs are children's songs. In Maguindanao, they call it ida-ida. The Tagalogs call it tulang pambata. For the Ibanags, it's canciones para abing. Lullabies are also an example of folk songs. The Ilonggos call it ili-ili. Another example of folk songs are love songs. It's called panawagon and balitaw in Ilonggo. The Cebuanos call it harana, and for the Maranaos, it's called bayok. Work songs also fall under folk songs. The Tagalogs have a rowing song which they call soliranin. While in the province of Kalinga, they have mambayu, which is sang during rice pounding activities. Each region in our country has their own set of folk stories. The Ilocanos are famous for lamang. The Sulods have the hinilawod. In Palawan, they call it kudaman. For the Maranaos, these folk stories are called daranggen. Next, we have the Spanish colonial era, which focuses on religion and institution by the Europeans. They focus mainly on their literature that they gave us from the lowlands. They gave us drama. They gave us theater. And of course, that led us to where we are now, which we have comedia, and then we also have zarzuela, we have cenaculo, we have the playlets, and of course we have the drama. Back then, literature was divided into two. It was divided into religious poetry, religious prose and poetry if I may say, and secular prose and poetry. Third, we have American colonial era. This penetrated the Philippines the most when it comes to influencing with literature. They introduced to us the new forms of literature, like short story, critical essays, and free verse and poetry. They became so deep, their influence, that English became the universal medium of all schools. It became the universal language, and the writer's most valuable weapon in making his work and his craft the best that it can be. And lastly, we have the contemporary era. This is the most fruitful era in Philippine literature. They focus mainly on 1960s and 70s, where people wrote novels, essays, short stories, and poems. And most likely back then, all of their information are factual, and they lead to gender and ethnic-based issues.
While Gab was possessed by a very intelligent ghost from the library, I was able to download a video clip of Hudhud hi Aliguyon, an Ifugao myth that my grandma used to tell me as she used to tuck me in bed. Now I shall leave you with that.
In the mountainous regions of northern Luzon, a hudhud is a long tale sung during special occasions. This particular long tale is sung during harvest. A favorite topic of the hudhud is a folk hero named Aliguyon, a brave warrior. Once upon a time, in a village called Hananga, a boy was born to the couple named Amtalao and Dumulao. He was called Aliguyon. He was an intelligent, eager young man who wanted to learn many things, and indeed he learned many useful things from the teachings of his father. He learned how to fight well and chant a few magic spells. Upon leaving childhood, Aliguyon gathered forces to fight against his father's enemy, Pangaiwan, from the village of Daligdigan. But his challenge was to face Pangaiwan's fierce son, Pumbakhayon. Pumbakhayon was just as skilled in the arts of war and magic as Aliguyon. The two of them battled each other for 3 years, and neither of them showed signs of defeat. At length, Aliguyon and Pumbakhayon came to respect each other, and then eventually they came to admire each other's talents. Their fighting stopped suddenly. Between the two of them, they drafted a peace treaty between Hananga and Daligdigan, which their people readily agreed to. Aliguyon and Pumbakhayon became good friends as peace between their villages flourished. When the time came for Aliguyon to choose a mate, he chose Pumbakhayon's youngest sister, Bugan, who was little more than a baby. He took Bugan into his household and cared for her until she grew to be most beautiful. Pumbakhayon, in his turn, took for his wife Aliguyon's younger sister, Aginaya. The two couples became wealthy and respected in all of Ifugao.
I miss my Lola. Anyway, that wraps up today's show.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll see you next week.
and upload some more videos for us, guys, so we could see it right here in front of you, and we'll give you the solutions for that,
Yep,
alright?
it might
We
be
love
the
you.
next one on cue. You
Love
never
you.
know. We love you.
There was a boy named Juan who was very lazy. He plays outside while his mom cooks and washes the clothes at the same time. The mom cried for Juan.
I'm coming, Mother!
But he did not even walk 2 paces toward the house. She proceeded to beat Juan with a spoon. Juan became so frightened that he ran out of the house. Juan's mother threw the spoon at him, and it struck to the base of his spine like a tail. Instead of running any further, Juan swiftly climbed a tree to escape his mother's fury. Juan had become the very first monkey.